and 3 and 2 and 1, and welcome everybody to our first show of Casas and Cashflow. And wherever you are in your life and your business and or around the world, we welcome you and we will love to invite you to connect with us as we unfold new shows. And before I go any further, I want to welcome Vianca to Casas and Cashflow.
Thank you, Miss Pino. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to our first show. Like Miss Pino says, thank you so very much for being here. And we're going to share a lot of good nuggets.
That's exactly right. And well, the idea of Casas and Cashflow comes in from our desire to share with you whatever, like I said before, you are in your life and your business. The fact that we do believe that with real estate, you can create the life that you want, the future that you want, and not only for yourself, but for all the people that you will touch around as you get more into owning real estate, which leads me to our mission and our vision for Casas and Cashflow. And I'm going to share this briefly because I would like for all of you to understand that when you improve living conditions in the planet, you help everyone, especially your community. And that's part of our mission. And I have it here on my notes, which is you go to our website at vmrhomes.com, you will read it right on the first page. Our mission is to improve living conditions on this planet, one home at a time, by building new homes. That's our mission. And our vision, like the bigger long-term vision for what we're going to be sharing on this show, is to educate and empower families to own lots of real estate, but not just any kind of real estate that creates generational wealth. In our case, both of us are immigrants. I come from Cuba, and you, Bianca?
I come from Honduras.
So we are both immigrants, and we were able to have the opportunity to come to this country to create a new life. And in my case particularly, I came into the United States legally, by the way, in 1991. And the only thing I was able to bring from Cuba, because obviously communist Castro didn't allow you to take with you nothing, it was only the clothes I was wearing that day. And that was for myself, my son, at that time he was 4 years old, my mom and my dad. And thanks to this country, I was able to get into real estate and be able to, for what most people's standards would say, well, a lot of things in real estate, and specifically new construction. So even though people believe, and many people want to achieve success in multifamily, flipping homes, wholesaling, doing apartment building, like all that kind of stuff, yes, the answer is also yes, because there's no right or wrong. If you're able to do it right, you are definitely able to create wealth in real estate, with real estate. But in our particular case, that answer, that formula unfolded by building new homes. Very simple. Buying land, building homes, and selling them, refinancing them, or keeping them for a portfolio for a while. And that's basically my story, how I came to this country. What is yours, Vianca?
Pretty much like the same story of many of our immigrant families that come to this country. I came when I was 9 years old from Honduras. I came with my parents, my siblings, and then, what do you learn when you come here? You said a big word. You said opportunities. That's what we have when we come here. Opportunities. My parents did the best that they could with what they had. Obviously, none of them have been in any type of financial world. So what I learned from them was, okay, so buy a house,
right,
stay with your house, live a 30-year mortgage, and that's it, right? Now, when we started our own story, creating wealth, it's more about the flexibility and the options that we have, right? And we did it to real estate. And I remember a phrase that you always say, everywhere you look, there's real estate.
So, actually, yes. And that goes for you too. No matter where you are in the world right now, turn around, do a 360. Everything your eyes see, it's real estate. And it's so simple and obvious that most everyone totally overlook that. Why? Because you're never taught by your parents, grandparents, your previous generations to really look at real estate as a vehicle to create generational wealth. And the idea, by the way, of generational wealth came into me. I started thinking about that when we first built many homes. I'm talking about 20 years ago with our previous company, which was Pilar Home Developers, and nobody taught me that. But I remember there was one day that at that time, remember, Vianca, we had another company. Before doing the developing company, we had a previous company called One Day Remodeling. And we did commercial painting, bathroom remodeling, pretty much those two things. And I remember myself being in one of the construction sites, actually in Miami, Calle Ocho, a big building. As a matter of fact, it's a landmark today. It's called what? Latin Quarters, right? The Latin Quarter building. And I looked and I said, wow, this is a beautiful building. And we were awarded the painting contract. I would take care of overseeing the painters, materials, and all that. And Vianca did the administration for the company. But I remember myself that it dawned on me. I said, who's making the money here? And then it led me back to the general contractor. I found out that the general contractor got funded. And I said, it was a federally funded project at that time. But then I traced back, like Cardone says, follow the money. Who's getting the money? Who has the money? And I said, all right. So general contractor got funded and he built new. And I said, wow, that was quite interesting. Before the end of the day, I called her up to the office and I said, you know what? I'm fed up with this. I'm done with being a subcontractor. We're gonna build. And she said, what? I even think that probably she didn't even understand what I was saying. Do you remember that conversation?
Absolutely. You talk about money, right? And it comes with the mindset. So your mindset at that moment was more of, you know what, I am going to do something different that is going to help, not just, because at that time we were helping the families of the painters by doing all of this. But this just became one of those things that I want to help families.
Right.
I want to help families own homes. And I am going to build those homes for those families. So it is all about the mindset. And the next question to her was, are you sure? Are you sure? Where in Miami are you going to do that? You know?
And my answer, and she asked that, and my answer in that moment was like, I don't know. I have no idea.
And the rest of your conversation was more, you know what, gear up, because now we need to be more educated.
Right. And
get ready to learn.
Exactly. And we needed to learn. I did not have all the answer. Neither one of us has the answer. And I'm sharing this for the simple fact that one of the reasons is that we want to do this show and share with you stories and anecdotes, which, by the way, come from our real life experiences, all right? Is that I think some way, somehow, there is a myth in the market space that you cannot make money with Casas that cash flow. And I totally disagree with that. And that's why that name came in place, Casas and cash flow. If you do it right, and when you do it right, Casas can cash flow. And you can cash flow with Casas, especially if you build them new. And we're gonna be touching upon more in details. This is more a conversational show. It's not a lecture. I don't want you to get bored or anything like that. I just want you to be inspired, and that you, whatever you are, you start thinking about the possibility of what if you're able to create generational wealth with Casas that cash flow for you, for your family, and the community that you're in. And Vianca, now I want to shift the conversation a little bit about where do you feel that you want to be or do or enjoy this year as we start the year?
Where,
how, I don't know. Open canvas, share your thoughts.
I am enjoying myself immensely. You know, we all came back from vacation. We all, you know, I hope that all of you did your goals for the year. I do have goals, and more than goals, I have outcomes.
Okay.
I want personal outcomes and I want Casas and Cashflow outcomes. I want to be able to build a community that gives themselves the opportunity to learn about leaving legacy to those future generations. That is one of my outcomes. Where do I see myself? I'm here in Southwest Florida, obviously.
Okay.
We are going to be in Lehigh Acres. I'm going to be in Lehigh Acres. She is out in the field. I will be in the office taking care of the simple yet 10,000 hours type of study, education, and experience. I'm going to be here for those clients, for those families, for friends and colleagues. I am here for a long-term relationship with Casas and Cashflow. VMR Homes is one of those long-term relationships that I have with you.
I would say yes to that.
Yes. So I do see here the outcome of being able to grab people by the hand and just say, sit down with me.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and have a chat. Where are you? Where do you want to be? Because we made a decision.
Exactly.
Everyone out there just has to make a decision. You mentioned a lot of the vehicles that come with real estate.
Correct.
You choose the one that goes well with you. We tried all of those vehicles and we realized that building new homes was the way to go.
Well, I would say yes, because there is a magic that most people don't talk about. Yes, you can buy, and I see it all the time with all that many real estate professionals that definitely we connect with and we have a relationship with. And I see that as a mistake because it's an oversight on them from the level of awareness. Example, real estate agents sell homes and help buyers and sellers, yet very few own a lot of real estate. Even less from them have ever even considered the opportunity of considering building new. If you look at even subcontractors, for example, even general contractors, painters, plumbers, anybody that is in any construction related trade, look, they're part of the process.
Right.
They contribute to the process,
Right.
Meaning that they add value. Yet most of them, they don't even think about the possibility that they themselves can do it for themselves and others.
But that comes to what we were saying.
Awareness and our families, where we come from.
Where is the mindset, the money
Exactly.
belief? We go back to that money belief. Where are you with that?
Exactly.
And most of us are not taught that.
Absolutely not. And look, in my case, I came in here into the United States 30 years ago, thanks to my grandfather, that in his early 70s, actually during the Mariel time that many Cubans left in boats, he was one of them, and he almost actually lose his life on a boat that was sinking, literally. And he was rescued by the U.S. Coast Guard helicopter, him and my grandmother. And after that, I came in probably about 10 or 12 years later, and he was able, in Cuba, he understood, because they had the Pino family, they had farms, they had butcheries, they have barber shops, so they were business owners, entrepreneurs. My grandpa, for example, even went all the way to become an attorney, and so he educated himself. But moving it forward, when he died at 99 years old back in 2006, he did not really was able to understand that he needed to accumulate assets and have assets. So what happens? His generation came. Him as the generation came in, lived through, died, and he had literally no asset, meaning like no inheritance. So was he able to teach inheritance, generational wealth? No. The answer is no. Simple. And like him, most people out there go through the same thing. Then my father came in thanks to my grandfather, but he was a very good man, a family man. He worked Monday through Saturday pretty much until the very last day of his life. But did he create a generational wealth? No, because he was afraid to build a business, but he worked for somebody, and then buy real estate because he was never taught. And then me comes in. I believe that I am pretty much the first one in my family line that is shifting that paradigm. And for you, if you get the right education, you have the courage to do it, consistency, because it's not overnight. And you and I, everybody, we are going to make mistakes. But most important than making the mistakes or being afraid of making the mistake, and then we don't take action, we need to twist around and, yes, make the mistakes, deal through the delays, do what it takes, but then shift the mindset into like, what can you do that can create generational wealth, that the moment that you die, you are able to leave to your family, your whoever you want to leave that wealth to. Basically, it's going to stay in the community, and that's how legacy is built. And I was in a meeting, as a matter of fact, in this conference room, and somebody said, well, what do you want so much wealth with if when you die you're not going to take it? And it took me it took me for a second, like, what do I answer to this? But then it dawned on me after the fact, and I said to myself, and I had the answer, I'm going to share the answer here with you. Yes, when we die, we are not going to take anything with us. That's exactly right. 100% true statement. But the point is that we are not building the wealth to take it with us. We are building the wealth and the homes and the assets and the cash flow to leave it here for the people that are coming behind us have a better life. And that's why when we talk about our mission, for example, with VMR Homes, it's improving living conditions, one home at a time, by building new homes. And at the same time, simultaneously, doing shows like this and sharing experiences with all of you, wherever you are, in your life, in your business, or around the world, that you too have the opportunity to create generational wealth, whether you want to be a passive investor, whether you want to become a future developer, whether you're a family man and you want to start building new homes. And that's one of the reasons why we created, as a matter of fact, our program, the Home Building Business Program, that teaches exactly how to do it, the business of building new homes, and also other resources like, for example, the book, The Art of Creating New Real Estate for Profits and Purpose. And on that, we'll share more. But now, in your case, how is your generational wealth tree line? If you want to share.
You know what? I am the first one, that knows what wealth is. And wealth is more than just money. And that is, people have this myth when they hear the word wealth. Oh, money, money, money. It's more than just money. It's creating what you mentioned. You said exactly that. Leaving behind for those future souls who will be taking care of, it's about financial literacy. It's about capital assets, social capital assets, which is more of the networks that we're creating now.
Right.
It's creating financial resources. Right. It's creating those new opportunities. It's giving those new options to do different things that we were not able to do. I am creating all of this, we're creating all of this wealth because I didn't have any of this. My parents bought a 2-bedroom apartment, stay there, pretty much that's it. There was nothing else. There was no education in regards to that. There was no financial literacy.
Right.
So now that we are in this point, I just want to be able to share exactly that, the education, the experience with all of you that are taking a look at what we're doing.
Exactly. And I am glad that you mentioned at what we are doing, because even though the fact that we've done it before, we haven't stopped. And we are now in a new stage of our lives that encompasses many, many, many different areas. And we do have the experience. We have done it before. But in addition, and more importantly, we are currently doing it. This year, we're looking to finish a good sized portfolio of single family homes. That's our niche. This is where we're staying, single family homes in Southwest Florida. And we are also, alongside with that, teaching, helping, contributing, collaborating with anyone that is ready to join us, to come and knock at the door, whether by text, in person, come to our events, but be able to share further. And that is because we don't want to take our gifts, the gifts that we have and the experience that we have, to the grave with us. We want to share it, and we're happy to do so with those that are actually serious, aligned to do that. Is it going to be easy? Well, it depends on when you look at easy. But it takes courage, it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes consistency, it takes belief, it takes passion, it takes love for what you're doing. Because trust me, I'm gonna wake up on a Wednesday and I want to probably go to the beach and do nothing. But I know, because I know myself, that I know what I'm working towards to achieve this year. And the responsibility that myself, Vianca, have when it deals with all the people that we deal with, the commitment, the vendors, the investors, new, current, everything that we're doing. So that day, I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to do it. Even if I have a health condition, or if I had a health condition in the past, let's say, I will do my very best, because I am working towards building that generational wealth that is going to way outlive me and Vianca, that many people are going to be able to enjoy. And that's how I would say pretty much we would like to be remembered about the good things that we did. What is it for you?
What I love about what we're doing is that we're doing it for us,
Right.
and we're doing it for anyone out there that's willing to go ahead and do the hard work.
Good.
A lot of people say, recently, yesterday, I posted something on Facebook that said whether you're committed to be broke, it's hard, or whether you're committed to be wealthy, it's hard.
Right.
You just need to choose your hard.
Exactly.
And choose it wisely. I am here with you to extend that commitment of wanting to do different for your household, for your community,
Right.
and globally.
Exactly. And when it comes to creating assets, like in this case, Casas, that cash flow, the more you're able to do it, the more equipped you are to be able to help other people. The more you're able to contribute, the more you build a better community. And, the level of satisfaction that will give you personally, it's really something that can only be felt, literally felt, when you know you have done it. Because any words that I could use would always fall short from that level of feeling that you will feel when you do something that you know is extraordinary. And when I mean extraordinary, that doesn't mean that you have to go out there and have to build 1,000 homes so you feel extraordinary. No. But if you are the first person in your family line that is shifting the mindset, that is thinking about learning, that is thinking about using real estate, especially new construction, new real estate, to create assets, to create cash flow, and you do one, you do two, that's extraordinary for you. So I also don't want to give you the wrong idea that you have to do and go out and build this huge business or life for yourself. If you can, if you do, please go ahead and do it. Yes. But at the same token, the biggest success you're going to do is the moment that you change the mindset, that the moment that you take action, and the moment that you do, let's say, your first one. Because the first one, for sure, will be the hardest one, the most difficult one. But that level of success and fulfillment and satisfaction, I can turn blue here telling you how it feels, but not until you feel it yourself. And that's why we want to inspire you. That's why we want to educate you and empower you, for you to start thinking about this. And what would be your final words or thoughts for this first show of Casas and Cashflow?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put a scenario that we've heard all throughout our families, all through our friendships, all through our friends and siblings in my case. We all say, if I had, I will do. If I had more money, I will give. If I had more this, I would do, right? Okay, now is your opportunity. We are in 2026. How long is it going to take you to go from if I had to, I'm going to take action, I'm going to make the decision to do something for me, for my family, and for everyone else, Building one home will equal something for you.
Exactly.
Building two will equal more.
Exactly.
So what you're doing is exactly that. Now you're taking charge of, if I had, I will go ahead and help this foundation, this community center,
Right.
this family member.
Right.
Now is that opportunity.
Exactly. I love what you said. And probably you're not going to know all the steps, and you don't have to. And that's what we're here for. And you don't have to have all the questions answered. We don't have them either. We'll still, even with the experience that we have, we figure things out every single day as we go, every week, every month. And sometimes we don't have the answer. Sometimes we fail at reaching certain goals, but we just reframe, retry, we correct, and continue, because that's part of what it is, building a business, building your mindset, building yourself and your future. And I want to close with this. Thank you for watching, for staying all this long watching our first Casas Cashflow Online series. Thank you for watching, and we invite you to like, share, subscribe, make comments, and even send us messages as far as if you have any specific topics that you would like that we will share in upcoming shows. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Vianca.
Thank you, Ms. Pino. We are happy you're here, and remember, this is just the beginning for all of us.
That's right. So go now, enjoy your day, have an amazing rest of your day, week, and month, and we'll see you again in another Casas and Cashflow. And I'm closing the live broadcast. See you guys next time.
Thank you, beautiful souls.